I'm going to
Sure.
start with a little bit of an introduction.
Okay.
So, the Soundspace organization is a creative initiative dedicated to exploring and promoting the phenomenal world of sound and healing. It focuses on the intersection of music, technology, and culture, encouraging innovative approaches to sound design, performance, and education. Today, we have with us Kamakshi and Vishala Khurana, the co-founders of the Soundspace organization. They are visionary artists and educators passionate about the transformative power of music. With backgrounds in music, psychology, and wellness, the sisters have dedicated their work to using sound as a tool for healing, learning, and personal growth. They have developed innovative sound based programs for schools, communities, and wellness spaces, blending traditional Indian sound practices with modern therapeutic methods. Through their leadership, the sound space has become a platform that nurtures mindfulness, creativity, and emotional well being, inspiring people of all ages to connect deeply with themselves and the world through sound. To start this podcast off, I'm Samaira, and this is my co host Raj, who is the president of the Interact Club of our school. So, we're going to be asking
Hi,
you a few
Raj.
questions. Uh,
Hello.
Raj, do you want to start or do you want me to?
No, you can start.
Okay. So, the first question is, how did your musical upbringing shape your vision for the sound space?
I think for us, music was such a big part of who we were when we were growing up, and it brought so much joy to everything that we did because our dad is has been in music, and he is a very he's an amazing musician, but more than that, he was like an educator to us. So that really helped how it shaped the way that we looked at life and the way that we looked at music in our life. And we felt like, everyone deserves to learn that way. And everyone deserves to have the joy of music in their life. And I think that is what inspired us to start the sound space.
Thank you for sharing your inspiration in music. The next question I'd like to ask is what inspired you to take up this initiative to help the underprivileged? You mentioned your father had a big role in helping you understand music. What what tempted you to perpetuate this further to other children and especially the underprivileged?
So, the thing about living in a city like Mumbai is that there are a lot of kids who are in the limelight and who get a lot of opportunities, right? They come from these amazing schools, but that's a very tiny number of kids. And when we talk about us as educators per se, uh, it would not be fair to just be reaching out to that really small number. And then how can we understand that we have given equal opportunities to all, which is what inspired us to start working from children from various backgrounds. So everyone gets at the sound space, everybody gets equal opportunities to do the same thing, and we are very very particular about that, and that was the main inspiration.
Um, that's inspiring. The next question is, which NGOs do you collaborate with? Like a little bit about them.
Of course. So we work with the Akanksha schools. We work with the Jevakil Foundation very deeply because we work with almost all their divisions and sections. We work with our own foundation, which is the Soundspace Foundation, where we run the Soundspace on Wheels and other programs. We also run a choir program where we choose students who are very musically inclined to create choirs and to have performances across, actually now across the globe. So that's also something that we do. Also, we work with the Teach for India Foundation, EAR Foundation. We work a lot with the elderly people as well. So there are multiple organizations that we collaborate.
So the next question is, can you describe a few initiatives that have been taken in the past by you? Just a little description or like whatever you remember.
So we've taken multiple initiatives in the city, outside the city. The one that is very very interesting is called the Soundspace on Wheels program, which is a mobile music classroom, which people have shown a lot of interest and regard for. And it's also been a very successful program for us. So I think that is the one I would like to highlight the most over here.
Yeah, I know that Soundspace on Wheels. It's an excellent program. I know that. So, is there one incident, like since you mentioned about the Soundspace on Wheels, is there one incident that has like occurred that has stayed with you till now that you remember? Something that like moved you or something that changed your perception about something?
I think one of our most exciting things that we've been able to do as educators has been one of our students has who was from the underserved community. She has actually now taken up a job with us. So she's now like an assistant teacher with us. So that is really something very inspiring and very exciting for us because it just means that, not only are we able to give opportunities to students to learn, but then we are also giving them the opportunities to apply their knowledge and to really make a living out of, what they are learning. All our teachers who work in the not-for-profit section of things, they all come from the communities themselves. So it's like a 2 point program where, they are earning, where they could be doing something not as fulfilling. They are now earning members of their families, they're running their homes, they're doing something they love, and they're constantly learning and getting new experiences. Our team was just invited to the Berkeley School of Music at Abu Dhabi for an international, like a conference, and these teachers got to go. So like people who've never taken a flight are now getting passports and and doing international flying. So it's a world of opportunities that we are able to give, and I think through music, if we are able to do that, then that just keeps fueling our inspiration to keep working harder.
That's lovely. Um, okay, the next question is, would you be able to walk us through a typical session with these children? Like, what would you start with? What would you do in the middle? What would you do?
So, of course, it starts with a greeting because the greeting and the hellos and the getting to know them and just finding out how they're feeling through the day sets some sort of a pace for the class. It gives us a whole idea as to, what the mood of the class is, the activities that we can do in the class, all of that. And then we move into a body of actually teaching something in the class. When it comes to a musical concept. So we teach a lot of musical concepts as well. And then there is a whole SEL component to the session as well, which is social emotional learning through music. And then we teach them about instruments or composers or artists or something like that, which gives them a generic view of music. So that's typically what a session would look like. We have a lot of people who come in who are guest artists or somebody who is volunteering, and then they come and contribute towards the programs. They're very open to having volunteers on the bus. And a lot of young people come there and also share their views and their talents with the kids as well. A lot of the session work goes into helping the children to eventually perform somewhere because that helps to boost their confidence, gives them that courage to actually come up on stage, sing something or say something. So it's for the overall development of the kids as well.
That's
Thank
wonderful.
you for sharing that. So verbally, that does sound very tedious and requires a lot of effort. So my question is, how do you measure impact as a correlation of the effort you put in? So what tells you a session is successful or not, if the students have learned or not?
So that's a very interesting question that you asked that because when we have people who fund the program, the first thing is that they want the impact to be measured, right? So we have multiple tools that we use. We have questionnaire that we ask the students at the end of, say, a year of doing the sessions. We also have a lot of testimonials from the kids' parents, the kids, and the teachers in the class to see how we can do better or what is really working for us. And then we also have teachers' feedback that comes to us. So we collate all of this information, and that's how we measure impact.
That's amazing. Okay, my next question is, has a program ever had a negative impact that was like unforeseeable, something you hadn't expected? No.
Never negative impact, but I do feel like sometimes things don't necessarily aren't as successful as we would like them to be. That yes, but not successful. अभी तक नहीं हुआ है. Like not a negative impact तो नहीं हुआ.
That's
Yes.
great. Um, so next question is,
Yeah, right. So again, so you said there's no negative impact, but I'm sure there are some resistances because you do teach young children. So what are the challenges they face, or like what are the difficulties they face in learning
So
music? It's a
yeah,
complicated art.
that's a great question because we the reason why we came up with the Sound Space on Wheels is because we kept facing issues while because see we always wanted to teach these children. That was always an aim in our life. But one is when you start if you go into the community to do the lesson, then you know one day there's a shadi, one day there's a something, one day there's a something. So your space doesn't happen and you the class doesn't happen. Then if you ask them to come to a studio, then their parents all have jobs. They all have they're all working. So no one to pick up, no one to drop, no one to anything like that. So then we decided that okay, these are all really they're holding the children back from learning, right? So that's why we brought up the idea of the bus in the first place, so that we come right outside your doorstep. We come with our own space. You just literally have to come outside your house and get onto the bus and the class is there. So we're not really giving you a reason to not turn up because we know how much this is going to impact your life.
that's great. So, since we're talking about like a large number of like a lot of different children, how do you say you would deal with people that are like struggling in different ways, like emotionally, or like people who have like children who have been through trauma, etc. Like, is there a specific way that you deal with them that is different from the other children?
Absolutely. I think one is music is therapy. So that's at the very base of everything. A big part of, like Kamachi had mentioned, is social emotional learning and helping them to um, get past things, which is very common in especially in these students. That being said, there are some special children who need some special attention and some special time. And luckily for us, they are able to create those relationships with their teachers and the teachers are trained thoroughly in all these aspects where as long as it is something that is under our purview we are able to handle we know how to handle we handle at our end. Of course if something is not in our purview we will forward it to someone who can take care of it on a slightly deeper level.
Right, thank you. So for me, could you define the audience you'll cater to once? Like it's already well established, but if you could just clarify that for us.
We cater to a range of people. The Soundspace Foundation, in particular, works with kids and adults who are underserved, who might not have enough money to pay for a fee for a class or for a therapy session, right? So that's one section of people. But we also have our organization, the Soundspace, which is running music classes in different international schools. We do lots of after school programs. We teach Indian classical music. So that's a whole separate audience as well. But if you're specifically referring to the Soundspace Foundation, then it is all kids and adults. And this also ranges from children from various levels of IQ, hearing children with hearing impairment, all of these things. So it's basically the range.
Yeah, thank you for that. So again, just to follow up, not trying to be futile or redundant here. Essentially, you said the audience is underprivileged, right? And only about the children. Usually, people with difficulties or people who come from a backward background, usually extracurriculars is not the primary notion for them. They need to give importance to other things, sometimes labor or sometimes just basic education that they have. How do you come here and convince them that this is essential for your mental well-being or just any sort of productivity?
Your question is really, really good. Uh, first and foremost, to get funding to do something like this is very hard because funding is given to food and medicine, which are the essentials in a country like ours, correct? Therefore, a lot of our support comes from other countries. Because and also it's very, very important for people to understand that today mental health is very, very expensive. It is literally something we are all struggling with. And if you're mentally not there and not sound, it's going to be very difficult to lead an everyday life because of the various stimuli around us and so many things around us. And we believe that music is now an essential, or any art form. I'm not saying it has to be music, but one needs to have some art form that they are interested in. And this is how we convince people that this is an essential. It is not an extracurricular activity because it helps to support you as a person, your overall being, your physical body, your mental health, and regulates your emotions. All three.
Yeah, that's right. Like everyone should have something that like they can rely on as a passion or as a hobby or something like that.
Exactly. Exactly.
So, another question is directed directly to you all. Like, what has the sound space taught you exactly? Like, what did you learn from all of your years of teaching?
We are constantly learning.
Exactly, I was going
Every
to say the same
single
thing.
day we are learning. Our students, our teachers, our
Yeah.
experiences, everything is teaching us constantly. But if I were to give you an example, if you want something tangible, I think needing to innovate constantly, needing to stay current constantly,
Yes.
needing to keep bettering yourself, because unless you fill your cup, there's really nothing that you can give to anybody or anyone else.
Yeah.
So I think constantly being better and constantly learning is something that I learn every single day. The need
Yeah.
for it and the impact of it are both things that I learn every single day of my life.
Yeah, I completely second that. I think it is so amazing to see how we grow with everybody around us, and that growth, that general evolution is a very, very priceless thing. And I think that's what we have taken away from this journey.
Right. So another thing in your answer you mentioned is that constant evolution is the key to keep yourself motivated and running to continue a non-profit, especially when you don't have any personal gain in it. So, because you deal with children, underprivileged, and sometimes with differing IQ levels,
Yeah.
patience is key, I'm assuming. So, how do you hold your ground and just keep doing it again and again? Because it gets repetitive, I'm sure. It gets frustrating, and you don't have any personal gain to it. So, just convincing yourself through it and then just being at it for so many years and hopefully more time to come. So, how do you do
Yeah.
that?
Can I just say very quickly? I know Kamakshi has an answer, but I'm very quickly going to jump in. Is there's no monetary gain, but there's a lot of personal gain.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true.
Yeah, but you tell your answer. I just felt
Yeah,
like
but
saying
that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
And also, we are contributing to a very large. I think we both come from a place where we are not satisfied with just being in that tiny unit or that tiny place. We're just not satisfied. We will not enjoy our day. We won't be complete, right? So we belong to a larger section of society. We belong to a larger mindset. We belong to many more things, many more people, many more experiences than just that. And so it never gets boring, because every time we are teaching the same thing, it's to a different person. And so that person keeps changing, right? So if I'm teaching a certain aspect to one person, the next time I'm teaching the same aspect is to a different person altogether. So the way I do it, the words I use, and what energy goes into it is also different. So it's never really boring, I
I
think.
think also we are very feel oriented people.
Yeah.
So even our lessons, like as much as we might plan them and as much as prep goes into your pre-lesson part of the work, a lot of the real stuff happens on the spot. So I am actually at fault when it comes to this, because I make all these plans and then I do whatever I want in that, in that moment of the class, what's coming.
Yeah.
So it can't get boring. It just doesn't.
Yeah.
That's so inspiring. Like, it's it's so lovely that y'all are so dedicated to what y'all are doing.
Thank you so much for such a meaningful conversation. Hearing about how the South Space explores the power of music as a tool for social change and healing was truly inspiring. I'm sure that this episode will be impactful and help people recognize music not just as an art form, but as a therapeutic and educational tool that can transform lives, especially those of the underprivileged. So thank you.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
Thank you. It was
Thank
very
you.
nice with you guys. Thanks so much.
Bye. All the best.
Bye.